To finish off the back of your hoop, you're going to need a few extra materials. The main thing is a piece of felt or fabric to back the hoop with. This is just a normal piece of felt from a craft shop. I've also got some ordinary sewing cotton to sew the felt on with. You can also just use 1 or 2 strands of your DMC cross-stitch cotton if you prefer. I've got an ordinary sewing needle, so it's got a smaller eye and a sharper point to sew with the cotton. I've got scissors to cut the felt, pen to draw on the felt with, and then for lacing the back, I tend to use some older thread of my grandmother's. This is embroidery thread, but it's unmarked for a particular colour, so I can use that to lace the back. If you haven't got any, then it's absolutely fine just to carry on using some of the DMC stranded thread you've been stitching with. So the first step is to draw around our hoop onto the felt. Move these things out of the way. So I've got to take out the inner hoop. Going to loosen this and remove the inner hoop. Now we're going to draw around the outside of the inside hoop. So position it on your felt and just carefully draw around the outside. We've now got our circle marked on the felt. So it's then just a question of cutting out around the circle. Trying to do it as neatly as possible. My line's disappeared a bit here. Oh, I can just about see it. And that's the circle that is going to go on the back of our hoop. So we can now put this inner hoop back in again. Press the outer tip over it like we did at the beginning. Tighten the screw. Tighten the fabric again. If you're very organised, you can obviously draw around the inner hoop at the beginning of the process, and then you won't have to take it out now, but I'm not normally that organised. So you want to take time now making sure that you've got it really nicely positioned and really nicely taut, because we're going to be sewing it into place. I think that's about right. So the next thing we're going to do is trim around the edge. We give a nice generous border of 2 inches wider than the hoop when we were cutting the fabric. So that's meant that we were sure we had enough fabric. Some people worry about whether they should cover the borders with tape or stitch them to stop them fraying. But you can see it's really frayed very little. So we didn't need to do that. But we've got these big corners, so we really need to cut round it into a circle and trim these sides ever so slightly. So I'm just going to cut around the hoop, leaving a big margin because we're going to use that to sew it in at the back, so don't cut too close. Doesn't have to be that precise because you're gonna sew it all in at the back anyway and cover it with the felt. There, so that's cut off, and in the next video I'll show you how to do a running stitch round the back to draw that together.